Seconds. I'm gonna make Reed a co-host. And I'm excited about this topic today. Get a few more people admitted. And let's get the party started. Record to the cloud. All right. So yeah, I am super excited about this topic today because it's all about recon. It's all about knowing what is best for that homeowner based on that electric company, based on that AHJ, based on the solar rate plan. What you'll find as you start to do your due diligence for a particular project or a proposal you're putting together, design that you're creating, is you want to have a lot of different factors that you take into consideration. You know, I was doing one in Ohio and, they only allow 110% offset. That's the max system size that is allowed. Sometimes it's based on the offset. Sometimes it's based on offset. And if you're in Nevada, you can't have a system size larger than a particular kilowatt hour. And that's true in other states. So you want to look at these things: system size, the max offset that's allowed. Also, what is the post-solar rate plan? And when you do that, you're going to find many times you're going to design a system maybe at 60% offset. But, well, I thought we should do 100% offset. Well, based on the rate plan, you may end up doing it at a lower offset because that's what's best for the homeowner to maximize that solar plan, that solar rate plan. So I've teed it up. We got Reed Peru here, and David will be joining us here shortly. So Reed, I'm going to pass it over to you, brother.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate it. Yeah, it's an important subject, especially when we're working, obviously, when we're working over so many different utilities. I'll bring up a quick scenario as to why this is really important. I've been selling solar in Arizona for a little over 7 years. And, I deal with two main utilities here, SRP and APS. A lot of you have heard of them. I do most of my sales in the SRP utility just because on the side of the valley that I live in. And I hadn't done a sale in APS for, I believe it was over a year. And David actually brought it up. We were talking about, doing sales here. And he goes, well, what's the buyback rate right now in APS? And I went, actually, I know what it was. I don't know what it is today. I don't know if it's changed or not. And then he goes, oh, okay. And he asked me a few more questions. I go, I don't know. And it's in my backyard. This is a utility I've sold tons of accounts in the past. And I just assume, well, of course I know how to sell an APS. I know what to do there. And so I actually I looked up online a few things, and there was a few questions that came up, and they have a new demand plan and all this. I go, oh my gosh, so much has changed in this 7, 8 month period. So I call a friend up and I go, hey, what are you guys doing in APS right now? And he goes, oh, well, on certain systems, we're still building to about 140% or so. That seems to be offsetting the new buyback rate. And I go, oh, it is lower. He goes, yeah, it's a little lower right now. And he goes, yeah, look at this up. I go, okay, cool. I go, what's the demand plan? And he goes, well, it's a lot like SRP, has a lot of similarities. You can do a smaller system with a battery, and it works out, blah, blah, blah. And we go until I go, wow, in my own backyard, I don't even know the changes, and you stay on top of it. So that's something that I sell in, frequently in an area where I should know exactly what's going on. Now we talk about all these different utilities across the states and markets, and they're so different. A lot of them have similarities, but they're so different. John brought up a great point. Some of these utilities have like there's one I know of in Arizona actually that has a 10 kW cap. No matter what, you can't go over 10 kW, which is frustrating, but it's one of their things they do. Some of them are just time of use plans with a buyback. Some are net metering. We know all these terms, but when we hear the first term, sometimes we go, oh, they're net metering. So, yep, we're good to go there. And in actuality, just because they're net metering, there might be a bunch of other factors you need to take into play. An example would be SRP, which is a very unique utility amongst all the utilities in the United States. It is net metering on one of their solar programs, but there are other things that you have to take into account. There's a demand charge, and you'll get in this, but there's a demand charge for how much demand a customer uses in a measured 30-minute time frame in this time of the day. It can be very confusing, but it's easy to understand once you go into it and read through their entire, I think it's 12 pages of how to break it all down. And the thing is you may read it and go, I understand this part, I understand this part, but this is very confusing, this demand piece. And that's the great opportunity to go, okay, now I have another resource. Who in Reach sells an SRP frequently? And you reach out to that person, you go, hey, Reed, can you explain the SRP rate plans to me so that I can effectively present a product to them and sell this product? And we can go through that and explain it piece by piece. And that's what you need to do in every market, not just once, but frequently. You need to go in and read through what is the utility I'm going to sell to? What is their program? And really get detailed about it. It's not that you're going to go, the other thing too is you're not going to go to the customer and explain the entire program to them because that could be very confusing. They're just like, they already are trying to understand solar. And now you're explaining this buyback program and the rates. It's like, it's too much. But you need to know, excuse me, the program, you need to know it really, really well. It's really important to know as much as you can about it because it's not so much how you're going to present it, but you want to build the right system for that customer, like John was saying, to give them the best possible outcome. And the other thing you need to know is what if I don't build it? What if I can't build a system to the maximum potential? So this is another piece is here is what the guidelines allow you to do. The guidelines say you can build up to this, you can do that, you can't do this. Well, in APS, this is another good example. You can build a system up to 140%. Well, you can build up, excuse me, higher than that, but 140 is about the sweet spot where you can essentially wipe out the customer's bill. We never guarantee that, but we can essentially do that for the most part. Well, what if they don't have the roof space? What if I can only build it to 60% offset? Is it still beneficial to the customer to have a 60% offset system in APS? The answer is yes, but then we have to look at understanding why. So we really want to take the time. I know we're getting leads from so many people in different markets, and every time you get one in a new market, slow down and let's do our research. Obviously, dig deep online and talk to anybody who's made a sale there so you can understand some of the nuances of that market. One that caught John off guard, he looked up the Austin utility. It caught him really off guard. He goes, wait a minute, Reed. So you're telling me when they get solar and they sell back all this stuff, they're still getting charged for the power that they consume from their solar directly into their home. Didn't go to the grid, didn't go anywhere. There's still a 5 cent per kilowatt hour charge. I go, yeah. And he's like, that doesn't make any sense. I go, yeah, that was a tough one. It's a tough one to comprehend. It still is beneficial to the customer, but we have to look at what we're building for the customer to make benefit there. And that's a wild one. I don't know if any other utility does that. Again, I don't know all the utilities, but that one right there is crazy. It's like goes from my roof into my house. I still got to pay 5 cents a kilowatt hour. That's pretty strange. So, really the most important thing to take away from this that I feel is that I've found, especially dealing with Reach, working nationwide, is immediately looking into how does this utility operate and what can I do to best benefit the customer? And I've been doing that and learning a lot. There's a lot of markets I had never sold in, and immediately I'm having to learn. And the thing that I've been doing is I have obviously we all have this, but I've been taking really good notes on each one so that if another account comes in, I did the research, let's say a month ago, only pitched one account, start moving on to other states, have those notes available so you don't have to go back into their breakdown every single time, but you have your notes that you put in. It was only a month ago. You're like, okay, I can build it to this size. This is the preferred offset, or here's the buyback. A battery is required, things like that. So you understand, just quickly reference to it because you don't want to be doing the full research every single time. Obviously, we know how to take notes. We're all adults. I'm not trying to tell everybody how to do that, but it seems to be working for me and it's being beneficial for me to do it that way and have a little notebook for each utility that I've been learning so far. And I know David looks like he might have had to pop off, but I'm sure there's some questions about this or some examples that people want to bring up, and we can definitely use some examples and ask some questions about it. I don't think we want to go into every single utility on this call today to,
David's
break
been here
down.
the whole David's been here the whole time. I just thought I saw Peter Chin. I'm like, I don't need to talk. Peter Chin is here,
Yeah, I know
everybody.
we got Chin here. Chin can talk. There you are.
Like,
You didn't
one
pop
of
up
the
my
smartest
screen.
people on this call. Peter Chin, everybody.
Yeah, Peter Chin is the guy who knows everything. The research man. Hi,
Well,
Chin.
and research is important.
So, David, I'm sure you have a lot that you want to add to this. I didn't see on there. So, how are you? Have things you want to add to this?
You're doing a great job so far. The utility companies nationwide are all going to have pre and post solar plans, and reading someone's bill is going to be really important as it relates to those plans. I got to ask, who here has recently run an appointment in a utility they were not familiar with? Is there anybody that can raise their hand and say, I just ran one? Okay. Lee, I saw your hand go up first. You want to take yourself off mute? Tell me where you're at and where you ran your virtual appointment at.
Well, I didn't run it, but I'm trying to run it. So I'm in Southern California. The appointment is in Arizona. The guy gave me his bill, and it has no usage on it whatsoever. It just has the usage for that month. And so I've got to get with him to get his login credentials to figure out his annual usage, or unless someone has a better idea, because right now I haven't figured out what's going on with this.
Okay. Lee, where in Arizona is that person at? What's the utility?
APS is the utility,
Hmm.
and it is Glendale.
It's in Glendale. Okay. You don't happen to have that customer's info right up there with you, do you? Do you happen to have the customer's address sitting right there?
Yeah, I've got the bill in front of me.
Oh, what's the address? Do a quick example for you.
2038
Oh,
North 68th Drive.
sorry, I talked over you on the address. Say it one more time.
20038 North 68th Drive. Glendale, Arizona 85308.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Now, I am zooming in on the house and I'm looking at the roof and seeing what kind of roof space is available. This person lives in Arizona. They've got a pool. I can just by looking at the map, I see some information. I can tell you that based on what I'm looking at on this house and the limited roof space that I have, I can probably put around 8 to 9 kilowatt system on here facing east and west, a teeny bit south on some bad roof lines. I don't need the customer's full usage to give them a quote. This is and we're not changing the topic here, but there is this notion where we can't pitch solar unless we have all the information. That's just not the case. I've been looking through people's back office and I've been finding old opportunities back from March and April and just looking at it without any notes, just looking at it going, I wonder if this person actually wants solar. So Lee, let me ask you a question. Have you contacted the customer and said, are you interested in solar? Has that conversation already happened?
Yeah, I mean, that's why he gave me his electric bill.
Well, let me ask you in the exact same way. Have you spoken to them and they said, yes, I'm interested in solar?
I mean, we've talked about it several times. So he wants to look at the numbers and see if the numbers make sense, but
Okay. You've talked directly to the homeowner and he said, yeah, I'm interested in getting a quote, right?
yes.
Okay. That's number one. All you need is someone who actually is interested. So you have someone who's interested. You can build a proposal and you can do it based off of 1 month usage. The software we have will extrapolate someone's annual usage off of 1 month. And we're not going to be putting on such a big system on that house because of APS. You're going to be putting on a 60 or 70% offset system anyway with the battery and asking them to go to a demand charge, exactly like Reed was talking about, because in order to offset the entire bill, you have to do 150% offset on someone's house in APS. and his roof doesn't allow for that. So there's no reason necessarily to get the full usage. You could do a quote today. You could present solar. Here's how much, here's what solar does. Here's the output of energy. Here's the price of the system. Here's your monthly payment. Do you want it? And that can be that simple. We sometimes get in our own way of saying, well, I've got to do all this research in order to do. That sounds like a deal waiting to happen if the customer's actually interested. That sounds like a ready to go deal. And you have access to people that know Arizona really well. I mean, like Reed's one of them. Chin happens to be one of them. Chin lives here in Arizona. And there, if anyone else that's on this call is from Arizona or knows APS really well, you guys could jump on a call instantly, build the system in real time, and close that deal down. So I would encourage you guys to use each other for your greater good. I know there's deals. I know Michelle and Reed have had conversations where Reed has said, Michelle, if you just let me help you close some of your deals and we split the commission, you'll make money, I'll make some money. But if you don't and you miss on it, no one's making any money. So we all should be doing the exact same thing. I would not try to sell in a market that I didn't want to research, or I was paralyzed by the fact that I didn't have enough info. I'd reach out to someone else and say, I need help. So we're not doing that as a collective, I don't believe. And it may be because our software doesn't allow for us to interact in that way. But we get on these calls and everyone should be posting their phone number in the chat and everyone should be writing it down. Or you should be able to find people in the back office and you should say, I know this state, I know that state. Dale Guiducci, name a state you know really well.
California,
You know California really well. Where do you live?
Florida.
You know Florida really well as well?
I know Florida pretty well, yeah.
Okay. If anybody had a deal in California, Dale's saying he would like you guys to bring it to him so you don't have to figure out what kind of battery, what utilities need battery, what utilities still have time of usage, what utilities have a low buyback rate. Dale's saying, I can do California. If I had a deal in Sacramento in the utility called SMUD, I would probably go to Dale first. And if Dale had no experience in SMUD, I would want him to come back to me going, hey, that's a utility I don't know. And then I would try to find someone else. But Lee, you got people on this call right now that want to close that Arizona deal today. Chin would drive over there. I'll bet you he would drive over there if you wanted him to and close that deal. Right, Chin? There you go. So the point is, we do need to research the utilities, and it's really important that we're not quoting wrong. But we also, the other side of the coin is, don't be paralyzed by the fact that you have to learn every single thing. We still need action. And sometimes the easiest action to take is find out if the customer, the lead, actually wants the product that you guys are going to go pitch. I've seen too many leads come in where I said to the rep, did you contact the homeowner and find out if they want solar? Well, they must want solar. I've got their bill here. Just because you have someone's bill in front of you doesn't mean they want solar. They might have been helping their center friend out. Pick up the phone, call the homeowner, find out, do a little research, run the appointment. So, Reed, I'm gonna hand it back to you because I finally got coffee and I'm gonna have a couple sips of this, and you can continue your little rant.
And Lee, and to everybody, I'm gonna bring up a really, really good point here. I actually had a sale last night. I did an in-person last night in a city called Maricopa, and they had moved in 6 days ago. So they just got the keys to their brand new home 6 days ago. Now, a very easy thing to do would be like, oh, well, let's wait until you get a bill or 2 bills or 6 months worth of bills. And that could be a good way to go. Another thing that would happen in that week, month, 6 months, whatever the case may be, is somebody else is going to come by and go, well, we don't need to do that in particular. We can actually figure out a system, especially in that utility, that will work very well for you. And that's what I did. I've done it for the past 3 years. The majority of the homes that me and my team had sold in Texas and Arizona and Florida were brand new movers. And the one thing we weren't going to do was let somebody else come in and sell them solar right out from under us. So we worked very hard on figuring out what a home's usage would be, talking to them. There's a lot of things that we go through. But the most important thing we don't want to do is we don't want to let time pass. We don't want to sit there and go, well, let me try to work this out, figure this out, find the usage. Let's get on the phone. Let's get to work and build a system for them right away. And there are very effective ways to do that. Everyone's heard the term time kills deals, and it couldn't be more true in solar. The moment you have somebody who's interested in any amount, we want to get them on the phone immediately. We want to start talking to them, build a system live with them, get them excited so that they continue that excitement through saying yes and getting to fruition. I don't want to let somebody else knock on their door, call them on the phone while I'm researching or figuring things out for the days or weeks or whatever the case may be, and have them do what I should have been doing, and that is selling them solar. That customer purchased last night. They bought an 8.4 kilowatt system with 2 Tesla Powerwall 3s. They actually ended up buying the solar from me more for the 2 Teslas. Once I told him he could have that whole home battery backup, he was so excited, looked at his wife and said, I don't care anymore as much about the solar as much as I do that I have the next piece to my zombie apocalypse setup. And there's no joke. I mean, the guy had the whole guns and everything set up. And that's what he ended up buying the solar for. Again, they haven't even received a single bill. All they had was their account number. And they purchased from me very happily, all set. It's sent in, done. Site surveys being done tomorrow. So I'm happy to work with anybody talking about how we can sell solar, whether they have a bill or they have 5 years of bills. But the most important thing is do your research on the utility, understand what you can sell them, what you should sell them, figure out immediately what the home looks like David says, and go, okay, we can put panels on this side. This is a good home. This is a good fit. And then jump on the phone with the customer as fast as possible, or get somebody to work with you like myself, Peter. There's so many people that will jump on with you immediately, and we will get to work, and let's get that sale today. We do not want to wait till tomorrow.
Reed, can I ask a quick question on that?
Yes.
I've worked with companies in the past that wouldn't allow us to make sales without the electric bill, and it sounds like you didn't have that problem. So I just want to clarify if there's any process or procedure to work with when they don't have an electric bill.
Yeah, so it's a great question. Ultimately, I had the account number. So if it was through Icon Power, so if they can use that to do the application, great. The customer will, in the next probably week or two, it might be a little bit more, but they will get a bill. But from what I understood, and I don't have confirmation, the name and account number should be enough for them. I don't know if that's for every utility company. This would be a question to ask. And usually we're going to get a bill while, like if they're just moved in, they're going to get their first bill while we're working on the job. But I'd rather have a yes to solar and a contract signed than not move forward because we were waiting for a bill. I want them to commit to me and they buy from me, and I'll work out those details afterwards. Okay, we need to get a bill. Great. At least they committed to me and I got that sale in my hand.
Perfect. Thank you.
Theo Guiducci has a question.
Yeah, so I'm very excited about the direction that we're going in with these different installers, because I think it's also forcing us to stay in our lane with regard to the states and areas that we know, to what David was talking about. Having said that, I just got a bill in the state of Washington, which is one of my states, from Franklin Public Utility District. Like, I don't know these guys. So my question is to maybe Chen or Reed or David, like, what is the best way to do the research on a utility company? Or is there a way beyond what I'm doing, which is Chat GPT and actually calling the utility company? Is there a faster, smoother, better way to do that?
I think that I can tell you that when I have a utility company that I'm doing research on, if I look at the bill, I see the utility company, they have a website on the bill, or I can just search them. I go to their website, I go to rates, I look at their rate plan, see what the customer's rate plan is relative to the website, so I can see what the kilowatt hour, how much they're paying in kilowatt hours. I look at the bill, to see if I can find the kilowatt hour rate on the bill and get an idea of how much they're actually paying for power. And on the bill, I want to see what taxes and fees will come down if kilowatt hours come down. Go to the website, find out if they have net metering or if it's a buyback rate. I just read through their website, old fashioned way. Chat GPT, using that to find out if that works well and it can give you a report on their website, that works. If you call the utility company, most utility companies these days have some type of what they call green team or solar team, where you can get transferred then to the department and you just say that who you are, what you do, and you want to make sure you're selling the customer the right way. What are the details? And they'll tell you. And if there's a post-solar rate, they'll let you know. If customer goes solar, then these are the changes that happen in that area. Ultimately, though, even if you can't find all that information out, there is still a basic thing that we're doing. We always know, without a utility bill, forget about someone's utility bill for a moment. Just imagine we're at John Bush's house and he has no power. He looks like the kind of guy that would live off the grid too, by the way, probably churns his own butter. So let's say he's got none of that. We still can see how many modules fit on his roof. We can still see that. And if they were electrified, we can still figure out how many kilowatt hours they would produce on an annual basis. Like, we can still tell a customer, Mr. Customer, if you buy machine will do this. That power is this as it relates to your bill. Here's how much thing costs. Reed did that last night. I haven't talked to Reed since his sale last night, but he went in and said, how big was the system?
8.4 kilowatt.
8.4 kilowatts on your roof, facing the direction your roof faces, produces this many kilowatt hours a year. The software is right here. He can look it up himself. 2 batteries at 13 kilowatt per battery installed together will sustain these appliances for this much time. And the price of your system is, how much was the price of the system?
54,000.
What was the payment of the system per month?
$312.72.
And your payment is $312. And they go, okay, cool. So that much solar, those 2 batteries that produce this kind of power and have that much backup power, and my payment's $312. And he goes, right. They didn't go, how much will I save off of my current bill in order for me to say yes? That's just not a thing that needs to be said. Solar is a machine that makes power. You get to use the power, and the machine has a cost. I don't care if it costs more than what you're doing with the utility. It's a better machine. It's better for the earth. It's better in all the different ways. It sometimes costs more. He's not selling savings. One of the biggest culture breaks that solar companies that have sold years ago, that are kind of relaunching, or people that sold a long time ago, one of the biggest culture breaks is we don't talk about savings. We're not selling savings. We're selling a piece of equipment that does a function, and that function is to make power. And if you save money because you've had it long enough, fantastic. But you get to use your thermostat more. You get to have a happier life. And it only costs you $300 a month. And your electric bill might come down a little bit, but it's not going to be that much. Craig, you got a question, I bet, but I bet you there's 4 sentences before the question.
I can
Fine.
do that if you like.
May as well.
Yeah. Well, Lee mentioned Glendale, and of course, I'm in California, so I thought Glendale, California, which is a municipality. And so, I mostly deal with the, SoCal Edison, being in Southern California. You know what? I didn't know much about Glendale other than I grew up there, but I will say that I encourage everyone, and what you just said, call the team that handles solar, because I think they're lonely, to be honest, because this guy, I couldn't get him off the phone. He just wanted to keep talking and talking about what they could do, how much they could, do, the bill, everything. I
Could
mean,
you even imagine someone just talking and talking? Yeesh.
no, because usually it's hard getting them to pick up the phone. This guy
Mhm.
picked it up right away and
That's funny.
extremely helpful. So if you want to find out information, yeah, give him a call.
Perfect.
Hey, Kevin Putnam, I know you're driving. Go ahead and unmute.
Kevin Putnam's always driving. Has anyone seen Kevin Putnam on a call recently where he was sitting still? I don't know if Kevin's on the lam or if someone's actually coming after him. Or if the license plate on the back of his Honda Accord there is a different license plate. He's changed it up. I assume it's on the Accord. It's a nice one.
I've got 9 plates in the trunk. Leave me alone.
There you go.
Oh, that's hilarious. I am always in the car, literally. But anyway, quick question in regards to, is there a general rule of thumb when build? I've been taught different ways. So if I'm adding a battery, it was always in my mindset to increase the production by 100. Let's just go say 100+% offset to ensure batteries are full and they work correctly. Is that correct? Or is that a misnomer? I mean, he just said an 8.4 kilowatt with 2 batteries. So how do you gauge, what are the rules to gauge how much energy needs to be created to ensure batteries work properly?
The sizing of a battery is relative to the size of a solar system, not necessarily usage. The system's got to have enough power to fire the battery, to charge the battery up during the day. So that question is tough to answer in a general way because it would also depend on how the battery is set up. If the battery is set up for backup only, you don't need to have a particularly big system because you've charged it up once and it's going to be charged. If you're using it if it's for daily use or self-consumption, you have to make sure the batteries are sized big enough for the home's loads, meaning you couldn't I have 3 AC units here. I can't have one battery and expect that battery to drain down and go for any time at all. If I had a 5-ton unit with one battery and the battery was a 15 kW battery, I'm only going to get 3 hours of usage on it, but my AC isn't running the whole time, it cycles. So it's a really tough question. There is no general rule. The general rule though, when you're sizing up with battery, typically you're not doing 100% offset and battery systems. Here's a real easy general rule for everyone on this call, no matter what. And this almost goes for every single utility, no matter what, nationwide. If you're selling a 60% offset system as opposed to a 100% offset system, you're probably doing a better service for the homeowner, period. Period. And the reason why I say that is depending on the utility company's rate plan, the last bit of power we use in a month, if you use 0 to 400 kilowatt hours in a month, they usually charge you X, and then 401 to 700 kilowatt hours in a month, they charge you a little bit more. There's almost always a tiered rate structure within every single utility company's rate plan to every customer all the time. Even on a standard rate plan, if you actually expanded it and go, oh, look, they actually charge me more for the last bits of power I use per day. And so if everyone understands what the bell curve of power looks like on usage, and the bell curve of power for the southern states is typically low usage in the winter, and then the bar gets bigger and bigger in the summer, and then it gets lower and lower. The top part of the whole graph is the more expensive power. If you did a partial offset for any customer in any utility, you're offsetting their most expensive power first, and you're leaving them with the less expensive power. So the general rule when you don't know what to do, if someone said, look, I want to make a sale, I don't have the time to research so much, what's the safest thing I can do? The safest thing you can do is a 60 to 70% offset, because even in a utility where there's a 3-cent buyback rate, we use 60% of our power during the day, during the sunlight hours. That's just how humans work. So they're going to get maximum benefit. The system's creating kilowatt hours of retail power. And then the little bit that goes back to the grid, sure, they're only getting 3 cents for it, but they're getting they're maximizing the most expensive portion of offset. So 60% with a battery is a really good general rule if you don't know that the customer is going to benefit from 100% offset. If you're in a net metering area and the rules are simple, you have it, you're lucky. You can just go ahead and sell. Florida, Illinois, there's still some states that just have pure net metering. 100% offset equals 100% of the bill gone minus utility, minus fixed fees. But complex utility, 60% offset. This is go back to what we were talking about with Lee. You got a picture of a house. Their usage is going to be 19,000 kilowatt hours a year. You're only going to fit enough solar panels on there to make about 12,000 kilowatt hours a year. That's just the way it is. I can see the house. You're all set. Folks, this is a 60% offset. If you would like a battery and you go to a demand-based rate plan, you will save even more money, or you can just do straight solar on your current rate plan and you'll still save money. You'll still have some kind of reasonable savings. So general rule, 60% offset with or without a battery is almost always going to be a safe thing to sell someone, as long as you're not, kind of ripping their head off on price. So hopefully that helped. That was kind of a long answer. That was kind of a Craig answer, but I really think I crushed it on that. Thank you. Yeah, I got a 4. I get 4. I got rated 4. I was 4 sentences. It's got a 4 rating of that guy. All right.
All right.
Jim?
Yeah, so following up on the 60 to 70% offset, really new here, but I've been kind of told if you're doing that, it means your customer is still going to have a power bill. And I've been told that kind of freaks them out. They've been told, hey, solar, no bill. And then here comes a bill. So then just kind of glue it all together. You've created the 60, 70% because it's best for them. And then explaining to them, you're still going to have a bill and make it all okay.
Every single customer who gets solar, who's on a utility company, has a bill afterwards. There's no circumstance in which they don't have a bill. That's a turn of phrase that's happened in the industry over the last 10 years, where inexperienced salespeople will say, yeah, we put solar on the house and you don't have a bill. You always have a bill from the utility company. The amount on the bill and some utilities can be 0, but you'll always get a monthly remittance from the utility company called a bill. That's never going to go away. Solar, a residential solar system cannot turn on, even when the sun is on it, it can't turn on unless there is a power source from the utility grid. An inverter is a pure sine wave inverter, and it matches the sine wave of the signal coming in, and that's how it's able to send power that way or that way. I used to break dance, so I don't know how it works, but the inverter has to have signal from the grid in order to send power back to the grid, in order to turn itself on in the morning when the sunlight hits the panel. So there will always be a utility bill.
So then the question is just amount. Now, I understand there's always a connection fee or something. And I also get that if there's no signal from the grid, then it shuts the solar down too, so they don't electrify somebody in case it was a blackout or power failure. But now it's a matter of explaining to them with a 60, 70% offset, okay, you're going to have a bill and it's going to be about not just a connection fee of $20, but it's going to be about X, so that they're prepared for not 100% offset.
Well, let me explain it this way. We think of utility bills in 2 different numbers. In the solar industry, we think of utility bills in 2 different figures. It's kilowatt hour usage, what they're actually pulling in power measured in kilowatt hours, and then dollars. So depending on the utility, I can offset all of your kilowatt hours per year. I can give you 100% offset if you go solar with me. Ryan Johnson, if you want solar, I can give you a 100% offset bill. Now, he hears that and he can think to himself, oh, I have no bill. I have to be careful how I say that. Ryan, I can put on a system that produces enough power to supply your house, what you've been using at your house, 15,000 kilowatt hours per year, I can put on a system that makes 15,000 kilowatt hours a year. How those kilowatt hours relate to your electric bill and how your utility company credits you for the overage I send back to them and how much that you pay them, that is a separate thing. That's the dollars, but I can take care of your kilowatt hours with this size system. Do you understand that? Great. I'm not promising you no bill when I promise you full offset of power. I'm promising you the system will make that much kilowatt hours. How it relates to your bill is how your utility company interacts with solar. If you would like to get the solar system I described, the 15,000 kilowatt hour production system is a 9 kilowatt system financed through GoodLeap Financial, comes out to $243 a month if you would like to buy that. Now, the savings are over here. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about the function of the machine and how much it costs for the machine. And if Ryan goes, well, what if I save no money? I go, what if you save no money? Do you want solar? Solar's here. Do you want solar? If he goes, well, I only want solar if I save money over here. I have to redo my entire pitch because I have not figured out that that customer doesn't actually want solar. All he wants is a savings. If I could sell him a different anything in his life that just saved him money, he would take that. If I could give him a free item, name any other appliance in our lives, guys. If I could go to Ryan's house, Ryan, you have a refrigerator.
Yes, sir.
Okay, I go to your house. I say, okay, look, I see your refrigerator. I'm going to replace your refrigerator. Your refrigerator costs you $13 a month to electrify. Did you know that? You go, I didn't know that. Great. I'm going to replace your refrigerator. It's a new $10,000 refrigerator, but I'll put you on a payment plan for $10 a month. And it cools the food. Everything is exactly like normal. It only costs you $10 a month, but it costs you 13 now. Would you go with the new refrigerator?
Yes.
Of course you would, right? That guy just cares about saving money. That's it. If I'm selling solar and I'm talking about the payment and the customer only cares that that payment is lower than their current payment, I'm not really selling solar. I'm just selling a customer on how they can save money in their life. I would coach them up on everything. I'd tell them to stop buying Starbucks. I would be a financial planner for them. We are selling a machine that makes electricity, and that machine is pretty expensive, and the construction is expensive, and it costs this much money if you want the machine. I don't care about the savings number in this moment. Do you want machine? Yeah, I would like to get machine. Machine fits into your budget in this way. Mr. and Mrs. Customer in Maricopa that Reed just sold, you guys can afford $300 and something a month, can't you? Yes, I can, especially if your bill was normally going to be $250 and now it's probably around $100. If I give you $150 off your bill that you can use to pay for that cool new machine, then you guys can really afford it, can't you? They go, yeah, it's only like $100 more. Right, for 2 Tesla batteries and a fully functioning solar system that lasts 25 years. They go, right. You guys hear how we're changing the mindset of how we're selling solar? Is it coming together? People that have sold solar before on here that have only sold savings, the stuff we're talking about right now, I know we led with, hey, check out utility bill, blah, blah. Now we're talking about some mindset. That's how we sell solar. We don't just sell bill swaps. We don't just sell, hey, if you save money, then this. There are customers like that. They won't buy solar unless they can save money. We have to sell them on why they need to change their mind a little bit. I'm preaching now. See?
Well, I want to expand on that, David, really quick, because right there, it's a perfect opportunity for me to say last night when we got to the paperwork. So they were sold on the batteries. They were like, yep, solar, batteries, great. And they're getting the paperwork. They're signing the DocuSign. And they look at each other and they get really quiet. I'm about only 3 feet away. And they get really quiet. They start saying a few things. And I go, what's going on, guys? They go, I don't know. Should we just wait till we get at least our first bill? And I go, yeah, you could do that. But I have to ask you a question. I asked them, I go, I'm going to ask you a question. is it because you want to see how much solar you need, or is it because you said you wanted the battery backup and that was the most important thing? And they go, well, the battery backup's really important. I go, well, we already agreed that this system's going to produce power and lower your monthly utility. We agreed on that, yeah. But you're getting the benefit of the batteries and the battery backup that you really, really want, because where you live actually does have quite a few power outages. And that was the most biggest concern, right? And they go, yeah. And I go, then you're buying batteries and the solar's charging the batteries to keep your home running when the power goes out. I go, the byproduct is going to be that you're going to save some money and lower your utility bill on top of it. And they go, you're right. And they signed and moved forward. Like David said, stop selling the remaining utility bill. Stop selling the payments. Sell the product. How they pay for it is irrelevant. You can lease. You can do a 10-year, 5-year, 25-year. That doesn't matter. Sell the product and have them say yes to the product. We know that it's going to produce something and lower that bill. How much? A lot, a little. You're going to have some remaining bill. The most important thing is that they're buying the product.
Which, and then I'll mute myself here, means start by showing the entire product. Start out showing batteries, showing backup, showing blackout protection, and then narrow it down if you have to. But I know from a place I came from, it's all been about pitch the bill swap, and none of that stuff ever came up. It never got shown, and so it couldn't be sold. So changing the whole presentation mode seems to make sense here.
And on that note, Jim, for anyone else listening in our back office in the resource section, you'll see it says solar sales training, and then you'll look in one of the examples is sales training, pricing and products, which is what Reed did a week ago, where he's talking about you start with, he actually takes 5 different designs or 5 different potential designs. It's the same pretty much equipment, but first one has 2 batteries, next one has 1 battery. Then one is with, a 10-year 7.99. And so you have all that already lined up. And then now you're leading with the 2 battery system. So I encourage you to go back and watch that video. If you haven't watched it yet, or if you have, watch it again, pricing and products. But back over to you, Reed or David.
I think we're at a point where we've already been on the call for 48 minutes. We can open it up to any questions or comments or requests for information. The one thing that I was going to suggest, but I was actually going to suggest it offline, but since we're in this open forum and we can speak freely because we all love each other, if someone does research on a utility and learns something that they think is useful, I think that would be it'd be nice to get that info sent to John, where maybe he could put it into the back office. I was helping Jimmy Scuderi with a deal in SRP, and I was explaining to him how the the post-solar rate plans, how they work. And as I'm describing them to him, I said, okay, there's a demand-based rate plan here. And he goes, okay, so do 100% offset. And I go, no, you're not. I don't think you're listening. And I slowed him down. He listened to me. And I read the whole rate plan, shared my screen. And he goes, oh, okay. He's like, so now I get it. I'm like, yeah. I had to walk him through it. After I was done, I had saved the 2 rate plans, E27 and E13, on my desktop because I was going over with them. Well, I emailed them, John. I'm like, these are 2 documents that are coming from the SRP website. Maybe put them in the back office. If someone happens to be working in Arizona and wants to use the resource center and clicks in there and decides to read those themselves, proactively, we could avoid possible miscommunication with a homeowner. So that kind of stuff should go into the back office as long as it's, practical and useful. Speaking of practical and useful, next question coming from Ali Syntech. Then the hand goes down.
No, I didn't want to forget to put my hand down, and then I had to find the unmute. So, quick question. I had one. I feel like I've asked you this before, so now I'm asking for the benefit of everybody. In Illinois, net metering is changing. We were kind of deciding between loan or lease. We know she's got the credit. She's going to stay at least 10 years. And how would you present it? Don't you lean towards a lease in Illinois for a specific reason?
The specific reason you can lean, I mean, the truth is, the specific reason to lean towards a lease in Illinois right now is that you can make more money and showing the customer a lower payment. You get to have a better price for you where the customer has a good value on a monthly payment. And if you tried to do a loan and you took exact same payment and draw it across, your price will come down, which means commission comes down. So there is a benefit to selling leases in Illinois right now. Everyone is selling a lease in Illinois. The whole industry, there's companies out there that are writing 100 deals a week in Illinois, door knocking, and they're all pitching lease because it's really easy. Payment, production, buy. The customer says yes. And there's very little paperwork to fill out on the lease side because the leasing company takes all the financial benefits. But the customer
Okay.
ends up with a really low payment.
Perfect, thank you.
Richard?
Hey, David. I can't raise my hand. I'm driving.
Oh, Casey wants
Go.
to.
Did you say go? Yeah. So I'm going to be jumping into the ring. You know, I need to understand all of our installers. I need to understand our software even better if I'm going to run this baby efficiently. And I've closed a lot of solar deals, but I know for sure that I'm not going to be ripping it right out of the gate. I think I'm going to have somebody watching every deal I do probably for the first 20 deals. At what point do you say to somebody like me who knows something about selling solar but maybe is rusty or hasn't been closing like 10 deals in the last 12 months? How long should somebody be on the training wheels or learning from somebody like a Reed or like a Bobby? What are your thoughts on that? And what do you think that it's better commission-wise or worse commission-wise? You know what I'm trying to get at? I'm trying to figure out where's the sweet spot. Say I'm just going to do them all myself.
I think that's relative to the person. If the person gets solar right away and they understand it right away, they don't need a whole lot of training. If someone's having a harder time grasping it, then they know they need more assistance. You know, I'll single out a couple of people. Ali, do you think you understand how solar works in Illinois relative to net metering and all that? You have a full grasp on it?
I do now.
Well, yes or no, you have a grasp on how solar works in Illinois, right?
Yes, yeah.
Right. And you have a full grasp of it because it's probably an easy thing to size because you guys have net metering. There's not a lot of nuance to it, you know? 10,000 kilowatt hour usage, 10,000 kilowatt hour production system, 100% offset, done. Really easy, right? At least easier. And I'm not saying selling anything is easy. So I'm not, whenever I say easy in the sales industry, forgive me guys. I see Corey yawning when I said that. Geez, I'm sorry for boring you. And so, by the way, you have such an animated yawn. Can't you like go off screen like this? When I'm bored, I try to hide. So it's simpler to size solar for Ali than it is for Dale to size solar for California. So Casey's question is a decent question, but it would be relative to the market. If I was selling in Illinois right now and I was brand new, boy, I'd figure it out quick. The software helps me out a lot. All I have to do is not screw up the sale. What I would need training on is closing techniques and salesmanship. And if I had that already, I would probably say, you know, I'm pretty good. What someone should look at, any one of you guys on this call that you sell solar, if you have 4 presentations in a row where you haven't sold, you have to look at yourself in the mirror real quick. If you've gone 4 in a row and you haven't closed, there could be a problem. You also could have bad luck, but there could be a problem with how you're presenting. After 4 in a row, I would not go to the 5th one. I would immediately grab someone who you trust, or or anyone that you could try out. And I'd say, man, I need this person with me. I got to have someone watch my presentation. And if that person was on your 5th presentation with you, and if they were obviously not just listening, they were closing with you, even if they took over, if you close the 5th one with them and you split the commission, I mean, isn't something better than nothing? So if you're going 4 in a row and you haven't closed, that's a problem. And by the way, if you go 4 in a row and you don't make a sale, that's different than didn't close. I had a friend of mine who closed 4 deals in a row and he had 4 credit fails in a row. And that's depressing because he's not making any money, but that's 4 successes in a row. That's 4 closes. You can close a deal and walk away without any money because of bad credit, but you still should be walking away with your head held up pretty high going, man, at least they bought. Of course, people with bad credit want to buy everything. That's why they got bad credit. I ought to know. All these shoes, they're all financed. All right, that's a joke. Richard, get us back on track. Say something that's going to pull all of us back to you with that crazy background.
All right. Well, I just want to propose or ask something.
If you want to propose,
I
yes, I agree. If you want to propose,
Wait,
like
you're a good-looking man. Does that mean I get to have half your shoes?
Wait till we divorce.
Well, you guys are making me think because so we've got some experts here in certain markets, right? And I feel like they may get inundated with the same questions. Is there a possibility to create like a frequently asked question or a resource center where we call like Ask the Expert, where we can post these questions? So if you're, say you have an account in Illinois or Texas or whatever, you're not familiar with it, instead of going to read and having 20 people go to read, post that question somewhere where other people can reference that same question. We can upload documents and basically just create take our brains and put it somewhere where we can access that instead of constantly having to ask the same question over and over to the same person, right? You kind of follow me there, like either a thread or a resource center or even a Telegram.
So I would say the challenge with Telegram is that good information get put in Telegram, and then after enough comments, it's buried. And on my screen it goes up, so it's buried up. And having to scroll backwards looking for it is tough. I think that a frequently asked question, I could imagine a resource center. John's in charge of the resource center in Reach, and he probably could do on the tab side. I don't care how deep the tab side goes. Someone can scroll down and find what they want. If there was an Illinois button, then there could be a bunch of commentary, almost like a Wikipedia page for
exactly.
And that would be probably a decent idea. Corey's yawning again. By the way, now my eyes are only on Corey when he yawns. This is
right. Well, and the idea is because John's getting overwhelmed, right? So maybe we can allow us to put that information in there, and then maybe even have a way that say, hey, this is true, this is verified by an expert or whatever, so we don't get some bad information in there. But I feel like John's getting overwhelmed. So how can we help John in that situation, right?
A place to put information is good and with someone proofing it would be great. So it's a good idea. I don't know the practical application yet, but I like the idea of it. So I appreciate the feedback.
I will say really quick for now, there aren't enough people that could call me or could call other solar pros to ask questions that would annoy us. I'm happy to share any information I can, help everybody. And ultimately, if you want help closing a sale or seeing what I do on your sale, just like David said, let's split the commission. Let's make you some money on some sales, and you can see it actually go through fruition in the place that you're trying to sell. I'm happy to do it, but there aren't enough people that could overwhelm me. I'm happy to take those phone calls, and I believe the others are also.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
Okay. Allie, did you put what's no cosigners? Did you say that idea of the Facebook group? Is there something comment here?
We're seeing the person that had the 4 credit fails in a row. No cosigners available. We learned that you could go for a cosigner if they got.
Oh, it was Reed. It was Reed that was the guy that had 4 credit declines in a row. He knows about cosigners. Yeah, he's been.
Sorry, Reed.
Yeah, I love that Allie's trying to help you out, Reed. Hey, Reed, have you thought about closing better? You idiot.
You dummy.
I feel like it was you because you made me run that one. Just kidding. Love you guys.
Are we, do you think we've, has this been a good, has this been constructive for everybody? Is everybody getting something out of
Very.
this? Or, just for some content from edification for John, John took away the Tuesday call and the Saturday call, and he's replaced it with this one, and there's another one on Friday, right, John? Okay. Are these, for the people that have been experienced both those types of calls, are these going better or are these more useful? You guys, okay. I see Scott McClintock. If Scott McClintock saying thumbs up, then that's all I care about because he's obviously the barometer for all of Reach. So there you
These are very, very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, good. And then any more feedback you guys have on content, please send it to somebody who can make changes and we can say, okay, we'll get more and more content for you guys. But John, you want to put a bow on this thing?
Yeah, let's say that the next overview and Q&A with an EPC is not going to be this Friday. We had it scheduled for Friday and it got bumped to Monday, and that is going to be with Standard Energy Solutions. It'll be on Monday. You'll see it in the calendar. If you're, have selected one of the 3 states that they serve, which is DC, Maryland, or Virginia, you'll be invited to that. And that'll be on Monday with Standard Energy Solutions. We do have the sales support. So we have, coming up on tomorrow. So feel free to plug into that. So we have bookends. I'll show you a picture's worth 1,000 words. So let me show that real quick. So go to training. You'll see the calendar being updated. You gotta love seeing things in Spanish there. So we are wrapping up today's sales rep training. We have the next one on Friday morning, okay? And then we have the sales support on Tuesday and Thursday afternoon. These times are based on my time, Central, so it'll be different when you log in if you're in a different time zone. And then what was gonna be a Q&A with Standard Energy Solutions this Friday will actually be this coming Monday, same time, same bat channel, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. That's it. Reed, any final comments?
No, sir. I think this was very informative for everybody. So thank you very much.
All right. Y'all take care.
See
Take
y'all
care.
later.
Appreciate you.
Look at that yawn from Corey.
Thank you. Have a great day, everybody.
This recording will be in our back office within, say, 3 or 4 hours.
Where is it going exactly in the back office? Can you tell people like what tab or whatever?
Where do you think it's going?
Training?
Well, I'll show it to you, but it goes where every other one has gone, which is you're in the back office, you come here to resources
Okay.
or solar cells training.
Okay.
Okay. And then you'll see sales training hyphen and then the topic title right there. You can see the last 2 right there. And yes, we welcome more data being populated into the solar plans per utility company right there. And you
Is
can
resources going to move at any point into one of the top things, or is it staying where it is forever?
Well, let me finish. So you can send,
Sorry.
you got information about a particular utility company, whether it's a PDF file or URL link, then you can send it to john@reachsolar.com and the subject put in data about or info about a utility company. Okay. And then your question there, Ali, is right now, it is not sortable by alphabet. I'm not sure exactly how tech has this sorting. So it just appears how it appears.
Okay, thank you.
Righty. Y'all take care.
Thank you.
Appreciate all y'all do.
Love it all.
Record.
Yeah,
Hey, are you on? It's 2 a.m.
I'm here.
Okay.